and stuff.
I do. I have that. Because this is episode 106 of Seddy Bimco.
Smooth.
Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. I messed it up. This week, we watched a movie George picked called Roar, 1980. Right?
81.
Right?
1981's Roar. Wait, no.
Okay.
Exclamation point. Roar.
From California.
Yeah. The great state of California.
Going to get there. But first, George.
Oh, I can't wait for this
question.
Age-old question. It's always the best part of the show. I love that we have these stickers of jokes right up top. So people are like, click. Maybe I'll listen to something else. What is it, Tim?
To Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
Ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Did he ever get revenge on Judah for constantly playing Fight the Power on the jukebox at the Last Supper?
I like that you said Judah instead of Judas. Good job. You fucking No, it's Judas, you maniac.
Is that sacrilegious? Judas. Let's go to the song.
It's Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The premier podcast for revenge sequels that were never made. I can never say as good as you do, George.
I always say America's foremost podcast devoted to the art of revenge. We watch movies. This season, we're doing a different movie for each state of the 50 states in the United States Union. Each region, 50 nifty. The filmmakers from these states, they have to film these movies in the states. They don't need to come from the states, but it needs to take place within the environs of one of these states. Find examples of regional filmmaking.
The rules are loose.
The rules are, I don't like what you're saying, Tim. It sounds like you're cheating. It sounds like you're fucking cheating. Then we talk about the movie. We describe it humorously. Then, in an amazing act of improv, we kind of we create sequels for them. Revenge-based sequels that they never asked for. And that's how we live up to our reputation as America's foremost revenge-driven podcast.
You're good at that.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very good. You're a very good announcer.
Thank you.
Very good. Every week we also reach into a jar.
A jar, yeah.
We pick a wild card question.
Ooh, yep. We have a piece of paper. This paper corresponds to a number on the list. The list is a bunch of pre-written questions. I wrote some questions too. We haven't gotten any of these yet. I think Tim is purposely not pulling them.
Well, I picked one.
All right, let's see.
But what does it mean? It means we're going to say at the end of this movie, who from this movie that we just watched would be most likely to do something? And I picked the number 49. I think this might be one of George's.
I think this is one of mine.
You know what I did? I put it back in the jar.
I saw you do that. That was a good move. Well, we're going to do 49 again in the future sometime.
Okay.
Who
from this movie?
Okay.
Who from this movie would be most likely to carry a hand grenade up their kilt in Scotland?
Whoa.
Reference
to previous Seddy Bimco episode, Lair of the White Worm. For those of you who are Seddy Bimco completists, if I do say so myself, one of our finer episodes. I enjoyed that one. Yeah.
There's so many good ones, George. I can't.
There's so many good. Name another good one, Tim.
Shrieks of the Mutilated. That's always my favorite.
Yep. That's Equinox. That's a good one. Yep. What else?
Just all of them.
All of them.
What's the one? What's the one when Jeannie's evil sister shows up, and she's played by Barbara Eden? Also, you can tell it's just split screen. Oh, that's right. You never watched I Dream of Jeannie.
No, I didn't even realize it. I thought that was maybe an episode I wasn't on. No. As folks, if you listen to the show, you know Tim is unquestionably old, unfathomably old. We were trying to figure out this the other day among our friends that we figure he's at least 100 years old, maybe older.
Probably.
Tim has pretty complete knowledge of every TV show that ever aired before 1969. Whereas I would not watch any TV show up until adulthood, really, unless it was animated.
Yep.
So
I did a little of that. I watched the opening of Soul Train, kind of animated train, and
that was good animation. Yeah, I would watch that and turn it off once the music started. I don't think it was I Dream of Jeannie. I think it was Bewitched, which was the same show basically.
Yeah, basically.
That had a cartoon. I'd watch that and then turn it off. I would watch the opening of Batman because that was cool. Plat, whoop, flippity, all the sound effects. Then I'd turn it off. Yeah. I would watch cartoon openings and then be like, why am I seeing the drabness of real life?
Yep, I would do that to shows. I would watch the animated opening to Platoon and then be, turn this off. It's not funny anymore. That makes no sense. That wasn't a TV show.
It's not.
Give us your California facts. Hope you did some.
Well, I actually first wanted to say, Tim, as America's foremost revenge-driven podcast, do you have any heartwarming revenge stories from the news?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
No.
I looked. There's nothing. There's never revenge that's heartwarming, folks.
We find
dirty and sordid. Never. We almost. I think we have successfully, since we pivoted to being revenge themed. I think we've successfully found heartwarming revenge stories 5 times. Because it's never funny.
Well,
revenge always ends. It always ends in sadness for all people involved.
We're gonna make this work yet.
All right. So
once we make it work, people won't come back.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, they finished they met what they were looking for, and now I never have to listen again."
Like when Rhoda got her own show and then she married her boyfriend in second season. And
again,
that's like nobody watched anymore.
Show over my head, Rhoda. Is that Maude spinoff? Is that the Maude spinoff?
Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, same difference. All right. So, as we continue our tour of the 50 Nifty United States, I made a big, bold grab. This was a movie I've been wanting to check out for a while. And I was like, you know what? California, which, of course, home of Hollywood. Many
I have
films.
that fact, George. I have that fact.
That's a fact?
Yes.
All right, good. That's the first fact. Home of Hollywood. But so many films would meet the auspices of our endeavor here to be filmed in California. And I'm like, this is the movie. Okay. This, Roar, is going to be the California film. So Hollywood, I'm sorry. All those Hollywood films, folks, if there was
this
a specific...
is not a Hollywood film, is what you're saying.
Gosh, no. And if you were hoping for a specific Hollywood film to represent the great state of California in our 50 Nifty United States tour, sorry. You're going to have to wait about a year until we move into some other theme. And who knows what the next theme will be? Knowing Tim, it'll be Zapruder all the time.
Yes.
We'll just watch the Zapruder film.
Name.
Each week we watch the Zapruder film and analyze a different frame. And Tim's like, oh boy, you can really see President Kennedy's head explode really good in this one. I love this part.
We'll spread out. We can watch... what was that movie? Oh, JFK, right?
JFK. What else? We can watch Camelot. That's
Oliver
one.
Stone.
Camelot. Right. Oliver Stone's. It's what else? What other movies have JFK assassination? We can watch that one video. The
Honeymooners.
Yeah. See, folks, what I'm saying? He has such good. If you ever meet him, he doesn't look as ancient as he talks. His references are so inexplicably old. I Love Lucy.
They're not that old.
I Love Lucy. What are you, 90? Come on.
That was the episode I Love Lucy where they went to Dallas.
Yeah.
And Ricky was going to sing for the president.
This is what I'm saying. This is your go-to. It's all this. It's so old. I don't understand it. You're not that old, I think. This is why we all doubt we think you're a Dracula.
It's not funny to say, remember that episode of Friends?
It is. Tim, to the extent we have listeners, they're more familiar with Friends than they are I Love Lucy. I'm sorry. And if you agree with me, right
Sheldon.
into it.
I'll just reference Young Sheldon from now on. Cablasto's favorite show.
We've broken you. Now Tim's going to be like, yeah, I was watching the episode of Love Island. And we do sometimes talk Great British Bake Off. That's the only show that was filmed in the last 80 years that I could tell that you've watched. Yeah. So we're talking about California. California, it's known as the Golden State. Yep, that's a fact. Oh, yeah. Yep. Its capital, Sacramento. It's a fact. Mm-hmm. It is the home of Hollywood. We got that fact already. Mm-hmm. It's long. Yep. It was the supervillain Lex Luthor once had a plan to drop it into the sea because he owned a lot of beachfront property in Nevada.
And Otis was going to make Otisville. Just a little spot here, Mr. Luthor. I can't do Mr. Luthor.
No, you can't.
Just Otisville.
Yep. And Otis is actually a great segue for my next fact, Tim.
Elevators.
The first elevator, as near as I could tell, in my 5 minutes of time I spent researching this. Otis Elevators, famous elevator creators, in the Hotel Del Coronado in San Diego, they installed an electric elevator in 1888. What do you think of that, Tim?
Whoa, isn't that the year of the the World's Fair, 88. I wonder if they took it to the World's Fair.
Probably not, because the World's Fair is in Chicago, was it not?
Yeah, but they could have been there.
Yeah, so an elevator from San Diego to Chicago. Does that make sense to you, Tim?
They put it on a train. Put it on a steam train.
Okay, all right. Yeah, none of this makes sense at all. And speaking of things that make and then if you did go to the top of the floor of the Hotel Del Coronado, taking the electric Otis elevator, it would still probably not let you see far enough to the first streetcar of California, which was in the city north of there, L.A., which went into effect in July 1st, 1874. Tim, can you guess what powered the streetcar? Think of the date, 1874.
A horse.
Horses. Horse-drawn streetcars.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And that has been my California facts.
Nobody lost their legs with those horse-drawn.
They all did.
They didn't lose their legs.
Everybody lost their legs.
Just trampled them first.
Well, the horses went mad in 1877. They went on strike, and they went on a kicking frenzy. They ran through town and kicked everyone in L.A. Luckily, L.A. was a pretty new city back then, so there was only 300 people in it, but every single one of them lost their legs.
They kicked over those bodegas with all the fruit out front, and the fruit rolls down the street. That's what happens.
What a weird and specific reference, Tim.
That's what happens. Watch any old movie.
Well, Tim, as a guy who only knows old movies, I'm going to trust you. That happens in any old movie. So, yeah.
Oh, I have a fact.
All right, let's hear it.
The Mamas and the Papas, they were in New York in the 60s. It was rainy and cold, and they were wondering what to do, and it was chilly, and they're like, we miss California. And one of them, whose name I'm forgetting, he suddenly came back 10 minutes later and said, hey, I wrote this song. And it's, California Dreamin'.
What? They wrote it in New York?
Yep.
Did they have a follow-up song when they were in California? And he was like, I really want a bagel. And he ran out and he's like, I wrote this song. It's called New York Bagels.
New York, a New York kind of town. Wait, it's New York kind of...
Folks, I want to remind you all, Tim and I are both residents of New York City. We don't know the name of the song. We're bad New Yorkers.
Is that Billy Joel? That's why I don't know it. Just not a fan.
Oh, you're thinking I was thinking New York State of Mind. Is that it?
New York State of Mind.
New York State. Is that Billy Joel? I think it was Billy Joel. Oh, so many New Yorkers are so mad at us who don't know Billy Joel songs. Tim, let's make up Tim, let's sing the first 5 verses of We Didn't Start the Fire. You ready? You go first. Yeah, that's great. It starts with an earthquake. Oh, wrong list song. I'm sorry. Messed it up. Sorry, everybody. I'm a bad Billy Joel fan.
You are.
This is already Tim. This is our best episode.
It is.
Yeah,
it's going to be. I told you. I got clear eyes, pure heart.
If you're listening,
I'm
you're like
Texas football player.
Oh no! Is this return of regional? A Texas football player. Oh, okay.
We're doing California.
Right.
California.
Any other California facts?
I think that's where I was. George and I both do books. We go on tours. I haven't been on a tour in a long time.
Haha.
I was on tour in California with my book, and I think that's where I was when I got done with a reading, and someone texted me and said, I think you were a clue on Jeopardy. I'm just throwing in that brag. I was a clue on Jeopardy, remember?
I like that it was a brag within a brag. I was on tour in California. I just finished my reading to a packed house, mind you. And then I got a text. The text... What did you know it? Napoleon. And he said, why, sir, I believe you are a clue on Jeopardy.
Napoleon. It would have been Mark Twain. Napoleon would be dead.
No, he was dead. That's silly, Tim. Of course, Mark Twain would be dead by then. Not Napoleon, though. Everyone knows Napoleon is an ageless vampire.
Yes.
Well, Tim, it's funny you mentioned California.
He put it in his closet because he hated it.
Is that true?
Just had to say that.
Actually sounds true. Speaking of California, I myself was just on tour in California. Just got back 2 days ago. Yeah. And when I finished reading, I got a text and it said, your driver is here. No, I don't know. But I was just touring in California. New York, Sunshine State is Florida. Never mind. I was about to complain. Yeah. California is the Sunshine State. Tim, I spent 8 days in California.
Ooh. Talking about your book called?
Oh, Odin. Yes.
Yeah.
But I spent 5 days in the Northern Bay area and then 3 days in Southern California. Can you guess how many days I had sun while I was in California of those 8 days?
I don't know if there's some big storms. All.
No, none. There was never. None. I never saw sun. Yeah. What? And guess what? Last time I was in LA, about a month before that, I was there during those record-breaking rainstorms. So California, I'm just saying. I know you traditionally have drought problems.
Is Odin really the god of clouds?
I think his son Thor is arguably a thunder god. So yes. I think for whatever reason, I bring rain. Just like I bless the rains in Africa, I bring the rains to California. You bring me to California, your drought's over. Hey, Las Vegas, same deal. You're in a desert. You shouldn't be there. You bring me there, you'll be flooded. So I'm just throwing out to, if you live in a far off land, you got some money to burn, you wouldn't mind having a cartoonist around who makes it rain, I'm your man. All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that a segue?
I guess so. Hold
Rain
on.
on the plains of Africa?
Oh, that is a segue.
The road was long, the Spirit helped us through. Here we are in Eden. Here we are at last.
All right, so should I introduce this movie?
You should.
All right.
Picked it.
So the movie is Roar with an exclamation point.
Do I have to say it like that?
Yeah, I think we
Every
do.
time?
Every time. We have to, it's
Until
exclamation
people
point
turn off the show.
until they throw their headphones across the room like, ow, who did the levels on this? I won't do any more, folks. Roar, it was released in 1981. It was released for a week in theaters. I'm not even sure if it got a North American release. A week. It cost $17 million to make. It grossed $2 million.
Wow.
Needless to say, did not do successfully. It received a re-release in the 2000s where it was given the new tagline, the most dangerous film ever made. Because basically, the long and short of this film is, I guess, the plot, which, man, we're going to have a hard time talking about the plot.
No, it's very simple. There's nothing to it.
Yeah, there's a guy named Hank who is...
Jerry.
Hank.
Jerry.
Where the fuck did you get Jerry from?
Subtitles. His name is Jerry.
It's not Jerry.
The doctor who lives with lions?
Yeah, it's Hank. Where did you get Jerry from?
All right. He's Mr. Jerry
I'll
Hank.
tell you where. One of his sons is Jerry, you oaf.
Oh, he's Jerry Hank. His sons, I never heard their names.
All right,
their son is
let me
Beardo.
explain this then, you fucking... No, that's not even his son's name. So Hank, he is a environmentalist who is on a trial separation from his wife. He has moved to Africa, which is really Acton, California, where he runs a big cat sanctuary. About 150 lions. No, let's say 100 lions live there.
Seems like.
And then, no, it really was 150 big cats in the film.
Oh, was it?
I read it. Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
So many lions.
There's
but
so many.
Also tigers, leopards, panthers, cheetahs in a couple scenes.
Maine Coon cat.
Maine Coon cats. The Kathmandu mountain range.
Wow.
A catamaran.
Kit Kat candy bars.
Kit Kat candy bars, yeah. What else? What else we got there?
That's it.
Yeah,
Come
okay. This joke sucks. But and he's brought all these big cats there to study big cat animal behaviors and lives amongst them. He's due for review for his grant.
Okay.
And at the same time,
wow, you got that much.
Yeah, well, I had that part I had to get from reading a synopsis because that was sloppily given the film. Then, at the same time, his estranged family is visiting for the first time in 6 months, and at the same time, the natural balance of his lion preserve is upset by the unwelcome arrival of the apparently evil lion Togar. Then hilarity ensues. That's the movie.
That's okay. And Tippi Hedren is in here.
Tippi Hedren of Birds fame is
famously treated badly by Alfred Hitchcock. If you read about it,
really? I didn't know that.
Screwed over her career because she
wouldn't
refused his advances that were not welcome.
Really?
Oh yeah.
All right, so I want to give a little bit of the background history of this film because this movie, if you go to see it, you might actually accidentally watch the documentary that was made about it because this film.
Go see it. If you go see it, George, people are just going to accidentally hit a button on their phone and see this movie. They're not going to go see it.
What do you mean? This movie was great.
You said if you go see.
If you choose,
nobody's going to go see.
If you
people will
choose
fall down, knock themselves unconscious, maybe see this film inside their head and wake up and go, "Oh, what was that?" But they're not going to go purposely see this film.
Well, Tim, I got to actually address this. This is interesting, right?
Yes.
In the history of Seddy Bimco, now I've not been there since the history. It started out as Tim and our old co-host John obsessed
Kelly.
with olive oil, Kelly. The two of them started off doing interviews. Tim decided that was too hard. He stopped doing that part. They talked about teenagers a lot. That got really inappropriate. A bunch of old guys talking about teenagers. I was a guest at that point. They talked about teenagers. Eventually, John's olive oil addiction got a little bit extreme. and we had to cut him loose. John, we hope that whatever island you're drying out on has no olive oil, because man, you were damp to the touch, oily, greasy to the touch. But I stepped in as co-host, and we pivoted to talking about revenge movies. In the entire history of my time with this podcast, Tim, you want to know how many movies my fiance has watched with me?
Zero.
Yeah. You want to know how many episodes of Seddy Bimco my fiance has listened to?
Well, all of them.
Zero. You want to know how many episodes of my other podcast, Hypothetical Island, my fiance has listened to?
Zero.
Yeah. But anyway, I digress. So
digressing.
But she, this was the first time she was ever like, I'm going to watch this movie with you, because we were both very interested in seeing this. So we sat there together and watched this, and I would describe the experience as harrowing. So here's the story behind it. Real life couple Noel Marshall, who plays Hank in this movie, not Jerry, and his Hollywood movie star wife, Tippi Hedren, while filming a movie in Africa sometime in like the 70s, they observed an abandoned ranger station that a pride of lions moved into. Mm-hmm. And this delighted them. They're like, that gives us an idea for a movie. And they actually had these great ideas about doing this to save lions. Lions were victims of poaching. They still are. Although we learn in this movie, they're not worth that much. Like, you can leave them to the buzzards. It's more the other cats. And so as a way, they wanted to do a film that uses the central conceit, lions living among people, and then use the funds to set up, to save these beautiful beasts. It all sounds great. Yeah. Now, I want to mention Noel Marshall had never directed a film before. This is the only film he directed. I think he maybe directed some later. At this point, he only directed film. He never acted in a film before. It's the only film he acted in. He was a producer on The Exorcist. So the guy had buco bucks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
the director is our main character, by the way. I didn't
yes.
Look.
Noel Marshall, who is the director, the part of the right. He wrote this movie with the aid of 3 lions. Not even kidding.
I know they get credits.
They get credits. Yeah, the lions are Robbie, Gary, and Togar. They get co-writing credits. He goes around to Hollywood, and everyone's like, "What you're prescribing here of filming a movie with 40 to 50 lions." Notice it's not yet the 150 this eventually swells to. No. They're like, that's the most insane thing we've ever heard. You can't do that. Nobody will back this. So he's like, clearly Mr. Marshall, not a man to be dissuaded. He's like, well, I'm going to buy a bunch of lions.
Oh, wow.
And, well, he doesn't buy them just like, because he's, it's more of like a rescue. He does this the right way. People who bought lions.
Prequel to that show that was on during the pandemic.
Friends, yeah.
Friends.
Oh, yeah, Friends. No, the Tiger King. You're right.
Sheldon.
Yeah,
Tiger King.
You're right. It is. And this is also an interesting factoid. Tippi Hedren, don't know if you know this, her daughter is famous actress Melanie Griffith. Mm-hmm. And she's in this playing Melanie. And they're a blended family.
Wait, her name is Melody?
Melanie.
I thought it was Felicity.
No. Tim's doing a shtick.
That was Felicity George. Anyway.
I don't know who that is. Was Felicity George someone who started in the 1940s era TV shows? Okay. So
she's the lady that held up the umbrella when Kennedy was shot in the film.
Oh, okay.
Who is that lady?
Oh, folks, be prepared. Be prepared for this amazing spectacle of a movie. It's you will see. There's so many scenes where there's literally 50 lions on camera at once. It's the most insane thing you ever see. The screenshot Tim sends me, teaming with excitement, is the 3 frames of film. Where Kennedy appears.
Yeah, Kennedy's picture is on the wall of this big compound this man has in the woods.
That's what Tim gets excited about.
3 stories tall.
So, okay, so here's continuing the backstory, because I think this is the most interesting part, and the plot is so thin. They start raising these lions around their house. They literally are living in Hollywood with, I think, 3 lions.
Oh, in Hollywood.
This is Melanie Griffith's childhood. She lived with lions in the house, which is amazing.
Oh.
Eventually, the neighbors are complaining about the fact that there's lions,
and something's eating their cats,
probably
and dogs,
and
and fish.
The blended Marshall Hedren family, they buy a ranch in Acton, California, and they move the lions out there, and then they start accumulating more lions from rescues. These are lions that have been pets. Lions that were from zoos, lions from circuses, lions that people had smuggled out of Africa in their pants, whatever you have. And they brought it, and they bring the number up to about 40 or 50, and it continues. They eventually get elephants, tigers, all kinds of stuff. He's filming the movie himself. The movie filming a scarecrow. Yeah, there's a Tin Woodman. Yeah, Yep. There's a bunch.
The one line he got was how he sing, "If I were the king of the jungle."
What an idiot! And then,
like, you're not a lion.
Then he had a bunch of like little people hanging around, and if you look carefully, you can see one of them hanging. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. We got all that part.
Yes.
So, they filming for this movie. I read different accounts. It took either 3 years or 7 years.
Wow.
Watching this together, my fiance and I were able to note how certain scenes the characters seem to literally age in between, because there sometimes will be years between filming, and the
one brother starts out without a beard and he has a beard at the end, right?
Yeah, yep. And the one brother was actually I don't know. I'm going with this, and not only that, like the years in between were harrowing, because what this movie is famous for is the most. Okay, no lions were hurt during the filming of this movie. That's key to mention. No big cats, no animals. But every actor was fucking mauled. So Noel, who plays Hank, the main character, he had, let's see, what were his injuries? Did I write this down? I thought I wrote this down. Well,
his hand was bleeding while filming.
You can see the scene in this film where he gets his hand fucked up. In the opening when the lions tackle him, remember?
Oh, if you look all the time.
The first time he's showing his friend Mativo around, these lions just tackle him. You see, he goes down, his hand's not cut, and suddenly it's goring blood.
Yes,
and then the lions are playing. So he gets his hand cut. He almost dies of gangrene. It took him like literally like 6 months to recover from injuries. At one point, they had to stop filming. Melanie Griffith,
I'll wait till you're done with the facts.
Okay, Melanie Griffith. There's a scene you can see in this where there's a lion laying on her, and suddenly there's blood in her hair. And then when she stands up, and they don't really. It's not. Continuity wise, it doesn't happen anymore. That's because one of the lions slipped a claw through the back of her head, almost poking at her eye. She had to have facial reconstructive surgery. Melanie Griffith. It's on the left side of her face, and you can see this happening in the film. Tippi Hedren. There's a scene where an elephant picks her up by the leg.
Oh yeah.
She fell off, and the elephant catches her, and her leg was broken. There's a scene where a lion bit her on the head, partially scalping her. It goes on and on. There was a cinematographer who was completely scalped, who kept working on it. Oof. Everyone in this movie was injured in insane ways. There's the scenes where it's insane. So
one lion rips out a guy's courage and takes it. He says,
Yeah, and the courage looks like a little diploma. It's so weird. Yeah. And then he says they try to get the courage back, and the lion goes, put him up, right? Yeah. All right. What else? What else, Tim?
That's all. You did a great job.
All right. Okay. Sucks.
One line starts singing "The Circle of Life," and he's like, "Whoa, what's that song? Sounds pretty good."
And Elton John comes and goes, "Yeah, what a hit!" And he runs off and writes it down.
All right.
Are
we talking about the plot now?
I guess so.
Which is very easy.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that Hank,
yes,
he did a great job of acting if he's portraying like a stoned hippie through the whole thing. He's like, no, man, these cats love you. They want to hug you, man.
Can we describe him? Because this is why. All right, so a little peek behind the scenes again. So excited. My lady love is going to join me for the first time ever watching one of these. We set up in the big TV. I'm not watching it in my studio on a computer. We're gonna I gotta tell you, we're gonna like date and take in a little bit of adult stuff with it, like little perfectly legal substances as we watch this. We sat there mouth agape just watching the spectacle of this movie for like 20 minutes, first 20 minutes, just like what the fuck. And not even the scenes of like giant beautiful cats. In this movie, I recommend watching because like you will be stunned by the beauty of these cats. It really is amazing. But the mad energy of Hank, Noel, the director.
He's just trying to do things, and he has his friend Mativo, who shows up in his boat. But he's like, "Whoa, I don't know." But
Mativo's the
Hank's
voice.
Like, whatever, they love you, man. They just clog you because
I love that's in this movie. Like the director of the movie, I think you're supposed to be on his side because it's But Mativo is clearly the voice of reason. He's like, no, he literally says, this place is a madhouse. And so the director, he has like this wild mop of hair, a gigantic goatee, just this bushy bouffant. He's wearing clothes that are literally in tatters from opening scene because he cannot walk 5 feet without being tackled by a lion. And
this movie is not to give away too much, just 3 acts. First act, him trying to do things at the beginning because he gets tackled all the time. The second part, his family tries to get there. They get tackled all the time.
And what's the third act? I was trying to apply 3-act structure to it. I'm like, there's no 3-act structure in this movie.
The third act is just very short because they're like, hey, we got together. And the lions are still like trying to tackle.
I should mention this. We didn't mention this. These are not tamed lions.
No.
These are fucking wild lions. And he's running on them. So he's wearing this shredded denim shirt. He noticeably ages at different scenes and his voice becomes more insane. So in these opening shots, he talks like this all the time. He's always yelling in this weird voice. It's so jarring. Like I've never seen this presence captured on film before. But there are scenes which were clearly filmed before when he was a younger man who had been less mauled by cats repeatedly, where he looks less frenzied and speaks like a normal human. And the juxtaposition of this being edited together is one of the most fascinating things. Be like, yeah, that's him that's him before Tippi Hedren divorced him and took him for everything he got because of this movie. Oh, by the way, that happened, folks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. But you know what's cool, Tim? True story. She divorced the fuck out of him after this movie. She took all his money. He spent all his money. He had to sell his 4 houses he got. He had 4 fucking houses because this guy, again, was a producer in The Exorcist. He sold everything, put everything into this movie because nobody, as the casualties mounted, people just were like pulling out left and right. He had to rehire an entire new, crew and stuff. She divorces him at the end, but she takes all the money. She opens up the Shambhala Lion Preserve with it.
Oh, wow.
Which every single lion and cat in this movie was housed in this preserve afterwards. And Tippi Hedren, still alive as of this recording at 90 years old, is still on the board of the Shambhala Lion Preserve with her daughter, Melanie Griffith. And they still work to house lions like this. So, kind of amazing, Tippi Hedren. Anyway, Hank's a lunatic running around getting tackled. Like these giant creatures, talking a bunch of 500 fucking pound cats or higher. Every time this guy walks, they constantly just keep putting their hands up and knocking him down. He gets
and if they get in fights, he runs over like, hey, knock it off. God. And they swat at him. I think they edited it because it looked like, I don't know, it looked like one swatted him in the face.
Yeah, he gets really fucking cut a few times.
Yeah.
There's a scene in this opening bit when he's showing Mativo that I mentioned before. It's hilarious. We rewound it 3 times where he's talking and just suddenly, like the camera's fixing on these 2 human actors, and you see a tawny rush from off right-hand side just tackle him. In mid-sentence, he's talking, it's like, whoa! He gets tackled. They cut over, and not a tiger, a lion literally just knocked him to the ground, and then he's immediately swarmed by 5 lions. That's when he gets his hand fucked up. You see where their claws go right down his hand. I'm like, wow. You see these people getting mauled on camera.
And so Mativo, his friend, also, he's got a jacket, and all the time he's like, "You can't, not my jacket!" And the cats are trying to take his jacket. He's always like, "Not my jacket!"
This jacket.
And Jerry's like, "Come on inside."
Yeah,
it's like, no.
Mativo arrives by boat, so you pull up to this place by boat, and like literally tigers will be escorting you because tigers swim. Hi, the biggest fucking cats here. There's just swimming tigers there. He pulls up. This guy's Mativo's jacket must have been made of bacon. Every cat in this movie wanted to eat this thing so bad. Like a Black Panther is like trying to get it. Yeah. Oh no, Tim, is this a list?
I got a list.
All right.
Of reasons why these cats continually wanted Mativo's jacket.
Let's hear it.
Well, earlier that day, Mativo's mom had given him a scratch and sniff birthday card that was zebra blood scented.
Yeah. Mom Tivo, let's call her.
Scented.
Or Ma Tivo.
Hank, the man who lives with the lions, he puts the lions to sleep every night with a spooky story about an evil jacket that steals lion cubs while they sleep.
Okay, nice.
And the third reason,
so weird.
Mativo, he forgot he had his lucky tuna fish in his pocket, his jacket pocket. So there you go.
All right, good one. Woo! Yeah. So Mativo is like the voice of reason. He's getting a tour of this compound. So like Tim mentioned, it's a 3-story structure that for some reason he has full of lions. Why do they live inside?
and birds and
there are birds randomly in rooms and stuff.
It's a trashy place.
The place is really trash. And like Mativo's, so we learned the story. Mativo's like, there's two plot lines. Mativo's like saying, well, your family's coming soon. You're going to clean up. He's like, yeah, I'll clean it up. And also he gets tackled. Lion mauls him, bites his leg off. He's like, what are you, a streetcar? And then the other bit, which I actually didn't get what was happening here. There is a group of...
They're called the committee.
The committee. We don't know what they are. Yeah. And they are reviewing the grant for this big cat preserve. No, right? Which makes everything that happened even more fucking hilarious.
I know.
So
and
we get
this
we get this manic tour where it's just like insane. It's just like 20 minutes of like Hank being tackled. Mativo
I don't know if this happens now or before the committee comes, but I want to mention it. At some point, that's why Hank must smoke pot every day. At one point, Mativo's there. He goes, I'm going to go take a bath. He's in a bathtub and the cats are coming in the bathtub. You don't remember this?
I do.
And Mativo is outside going, help me. They're going to take my jacket. And he's just like, yeah, you're there. Sorry, I just wandered off. Took a bath with some lions.
Our main character, Hank, is hanging out naked in a bath with like, I would say 4 large lionesses in there who are like drinking water. I'm like, aren't you worried they're going to be like, oh, a Vienna sausage? And nope, that's the end of Hank.
I know.
Good Lord. And folks, whatever you're picturing, I can promise you it's not. This was one of the strongest visceral reactions I've ever had to a film. Like these
just
cats
being scared for them.
Yeah. Like you're just watching this being like your mouth is agape and you kind of almost never get used to it. Cause it's just like, it just gets more and more insane. We're just like, man, that is a person being chased by like 7 or 8 fucking lions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, adding to the insanity of this, you think of a pride of lions, right? It's normally like maybe 8 lionesses or whatever, and like 1 male lion. There are so many male lions here.
Oh, I wasn't checking.
Yeah, anyone with a mane is a male.
Oh, yeah.
So
I knew that.
Tim didn't know that, everybody. So normally it's a thing, and he even says it's all. Their whole lifestyle is based on dominance. They front against other males, and a lion leaves, and it finds its own pride. And so you only have like 1 male and a pride, because when males are together, they constantly fucking fight for the females.
Yep.
He must have 30 fucking males here.
I wasn't even thinking of that.
It's constant fighting. So he's just sitting there acting where like literally 6 feet away, there's 2 700-pound cats smacking the shit out of each other, roaring.
And he's always trying to stop him.
He runs over, hey, stop it, hey! And you're like, God, how did nobody die in the filming of this? Except for that one unfortunate little person who hung himself in the background.
Right.
Yeah.
That guy.
And then the other one that drowned in the pool and they had to fish him out later.
Right.
Yeah. Any other little people that died, Tim? Okay. So then the committee comes.
Oh, yeah. And the lions sink their boats and attack them.
The tigers. Basically. These people who are going to determine whether or not this place is economically viable. And they have some good points. They're like, hey, you know what? Yeah. This is Africa. Actually, really California, but this is Africa. We have lions, but you've brought in jaguars from South America, tigers from India, pumas from the Americas. You brought in creatures from all over the place. You're making this very dangerous. A Maine Coon cat. Yeah. From the island. What else the cat things can we throw in here, Tim? I already did a Catmandu. Cat Stevens.
Oh, that cat who's the king of Misfit Toy Island.
Again.
It's a lion, George. Come on.
Old reference, everybody. Really old reference.
You love that show.
No, remember we talked. I don't really remember that one as much. I know I was more of a fan of Rudolph Shiny New Year. And they go up there and immediately, like they're in their boat. There's 2 boats and these enormous tigers. Yeah. Like the biggest cats in the whole movie. They make the lions look small. They start climbing the boats. They're so big, the boats start sinking. And then you could kind of tell there's a scene they got away from. So the actors playing the committee were real life big cat tamers, as it turns out. Oh, I read this, but there's definitely a scene where you see one of the tigers is going a little nuts. Yeah, this thing is so big. There's a scene where it puts its paw on a guy's head, and its paw is bigger than the guy's head.
Yes.
2 of these guys get wounded, and they get really wounded. Like, you could see real blood. Like, guy has his cut in his scalp, and there's blood pouring down. Oof. They become the bad guys. So they drive away, and the whole time Hank is running around going, "Oh, come on, you're not going to run away just because of a few scratches." No, these people just they were in a boat that got sunk by tigers, got chased by lions.
He was on the porch with a table and his precious tea set that he brought from America. Said, "Come have some tea," and then a lion tackles him, smashes everything.
He's like, "You know how hard it is to get a precious water tea set? She was only that one issue of Playboy." That's a reference that Tim makes a lot in previous episodes of Seddy Bimco.
Right. I wrote here, Jerry's an idiot, by the way.
But you mean Noel?
I mean Hank.
Yeah, Hank. Yes. Okay.
Mr. Jerry Hank Noel.
Yeah. So, so the committee members are driven off, literally some of them bleeding.
Right.
And so that seems bad. At the same time, we don't have a chance to stop because the estranged wife and family of Hank are coming. Now we choose to the rest of our characters.
They've flown by plane and they get on a bus.
Yeah. Well, they get to the airport. He's supposed to meet them at the airport. Mativa and Hank are supposed to meet them there. But there is a recurring theme in this movie that anytime anyone gets in a vehicle, it lasts for about 20 feet until a cat makes a crash. This happens.
Yes. He gets same thing, same plot as the rest of the movie.
He's on a boat to go to the airport to pick them up. 2 tigers swim onto the boat and the boat sinks. And so then he spends the rest of the time very slowly on foot getting to the airport. He and Mativo being followed by 2 ginormous tigers. His family
still after Mativo's cat. Coat.
Yeah, they're still looking to eat his coat because of the reasons Tim mentioned. He can't leave the tigers there because tiger's not native to Africa. He lets them loose. Bad things will happen. They'll get shot and they'll probably kill 20 people.
So he treats Mativo like shit again.
Yeah.
He does it a lot too.
He does. Mativo is long suffering. But let's introduce the rest of the characters. His family.
Oh, family.
We're introduced to Madeline, who's played by Tippi Hedren. She is the estranged wife. We learned that they were having trouble, so they split up for 6 months, and they're getting back together to see how things will work.
I say that's all we learn about this family?
No, we also learned that her daughter Melanie, all she thinks about is sex.
It's sex. Okay.
Because they have a very disturbing talk about it actually took me a while to figure out if the other 2 guys are supposed to be her brothers. Her 2 brothers are played by the real life sons of Noel Marshall.
Oh.
It's a blended family. Mm-hmm. John and Jerry, played by John and Jerry. But I had different names for them. John was the beardo. I thought he looked like Jack Black, so I call him Jack Dark Gray.
Okay.
And Jerry, who was the clean-shaven one, he looked like Timothy McConaughey, so we called him Timothy McConaughey.
Yeah. Not Timothy McConaughey, maybe?
Oh, that's better. McConaughey, maybe. Let's do that. McConaughey, maybe. It's better.
Maybe.
All right, Jack Dark Gray and Timothy McConaughey, maybe. So they're left at the airport, no dad in sight, which seems bad for their marriage. So a guy at the airport's like, if you don't get in this bus, the next bus isn't for 2 days. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, so we're getting this bus. So they get in a bus and they ride off.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he leaves Mativo in a tree, which cats can climb. And he says, tease them with your jacket. You got to stay here. Yeah.
Mativo's job, because he could get to the airport faster if he doesn't have to keep walking with tigers. That the problem is the tigers tackle him every 5 feet. We're not even kidding. They just constantly keep knocking him down. Like anytime this guy walks faster than like a slow walk, a big cat just walks up and knocks him over.
That's right. That's a rule in the film. It's no running.
No running. Oh, do they say that?
Yeah.
It makes sense. Yeah, and
later in the film, he has to open his umbrella. Mativo, he says, "Don't let them see me running."
Oh yeah,
it's a rule.
Yeah, actually, it's a rule in real life too. Like anytime somebody walks even remotely fast, these cats just swarm them and knock them over. It's insane. Huh. So Mativo gets treed, and he hangs down his delicious coat as these fucking 12-foot long tigers keep jumping up to get the coat. He's like, "Just keep dangling. Okay, I'll be back."
Yeah. Is he still frenetic, Hank?
Oh, the scenes where you don't see him frenetic. I actually think the very end of the movie, this is probably when Tippi Hedren was still speaking to him.
Right.
When they're reunited, there's some scenes where you can see he's noticeably younger. He doesn't have a saggy jaw anymore, and his hair is less gray. And he also speaks more calmly. And there is a scene actually when he's looking up at Mativo. You're right. There's a scene where he's looking up at something. Maybe it's Mativo. Maybe it's something. He's on the ground looking up. You also see he's noticeably younger.
Yeah.
Where he's just and he speaks normally. He's like, I'm not speaking like a man who's been attacked by cats and is always screaming at cats and being constantly knocked down by cats.
So then the family gets there, they're immediately chased by an elephant, and after that,
What's funny, it took us a while to realize this. The family arrives at the resort and at the place. They don't see, this is the only time we don't see it. There's no cats around. There are cats, but they're always hidden. We see shots of pumas up in trees where the family doesn't notice. So they're like,
they seem to not notice.
They're like, they do see the elephant. They're like, wow, this is where Dad lives. And so they go inside the house and they're like, oh, there was something where you're only supposed to open 2 doors to the house. This was mentioned. So that was earlier, even though the house is full of lions. If you open up more than 2 doors, it gets crazy. So Tippy and the kids are going through and they're looking at this house and they're like, oh, this is so nice. Because he somehow did clean it up very nicely. Like, this thing must stink of cat piss.
Yes, it must.
It's filled with fucking lions. But nobody seems to notice it. And so Tippy's going like, wouldn't it be nice if we dusted everything and cleaned up for your father as a surprise? So they're opening up all the windows, all the doors. Yes. Still not seeing these cats. Going through, they open it, and every once in a while they walk in a room. There's like a little bird who's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so scary!" And
you know what? That scene was her walking into a room. Tippy Hedren, everybody. She was in the birds. If you didn't know,
I didn't catch that.
Those birds fly around. He says, "Oh, birds are in here."
That's a joke. I get it.
Yeah. It's a joke, George.
It's
an old movie called The Birds. I'll tell you about it later.
1963. Yeah. No, I've seen The Birds.
Okay.
So they open up every single door in the house, and then they look out and suddenly there's like 90 lions.
Yeah.
And I will say the family does not lose their shit enough. I get Mativo and Hank being like the way they act. Well, Mativo, he makes sense. He's like, these are scary. Keep them away from me. Hank's like an insane person. The family is scared, but they're not the right sort of scared. If I go into a house in Africa and I'm opening up and I suddenly look out and there's like 20 lions in front of me, like immediately liquid shit shoots out of my pants like a geyser. I scream like, ah, ah! I throw the weakest person near me in front of me and run. Like, and they're scared, but they're kind of like, you can tell these are people who are used to living among a lot of cats because they're
they run up the steps and the lions bring in part of a dead zebra.
Oh my God, I forgot that part.
Yeah.
So they run up to the 3rd floor and they hide behind a door and the lions bring in a kill. And they're just ripping apart the zebra, and there's just blood flying everywhere. The house is covered with blood.
This is just the next part of the movie. It's just them hiding. They run from the lion and hide in a wardrobe, and they're like, "Which wardrobe? Got to get away from this lion."
And they go with that one wardrobe, and it takes them to Narnia. And they come through, and there's this big lion named Aslan. They're like, "Fuck!" And they go back.
You hammered it home.
Nerd jokes.
They run around the house and. The lions just tear down doors, no matter on walls. And I did want to say this is weird, George. They ran by. I sent you a screenshot. Not lion, not the lion. Ugh. There's a picture of JFK on the wall for some reason.
For 3 frames, which is now I'm going to interrupt all forward progress to tell you I have, in honor of my friend Tim, who watched a movie full of more natural spectacle than any movie we've ever seen or likely ever will see. And the one thing that he fixated on was a picture of JFK. So in honor of this...
Why was it there?
Because they're Democrats, Tim. The reason... my thing is I'm going to give you a list of Abraham Zapruder facts. You ready for it?
Sure.
All right. So those
these
of
real,
you...
right?
Yeah. These are all real. Those of you who are listeners to the show, you know, nary an episode goes by where Tim does not mention the Zapruder film. What's the Zapruder film, you ask? It is the most complete record we have of the assassination of our president, John F. Kennedy. It was filmed by the Ukrainian immigrant, Abraham Zapruder, who just happened to be filming the president. He's like, yeah, I like the president. On that dark day in November when he got shot. This film has been the source of endless speculation and study and ridicule in the case of my co-host Tim. So rather than talk about what he's most famous for as an accidental presidential assassin photographer, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the history of Abraham Zapruder because it's actually interesting. I already mentioned he was a Ukrainian immigrant. His family fled during some troubles with Poland. His brother was literally pulled off a train. I think this is maybe his dad. His uncle was pulled off a train and murdered by Polish troops in front of them. Rough time. He comes to America where he immediately, first job he got, it's hard to be an immigrant. But, Ukrainian, he comes into New York. he actually gets working in like the Borscht Belt circuit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Telling jokes?
No, he was the one. He didn't have a good mastery of language, but he did. The same uncle I mentioned had taught him some sleight of hand, so he
Okay.
would actually work as a stage magician.
Ah.
And he would go up there and he would do, he eventually, got a real act out of this. And he would say, his big thing is he would like kind of hold like, a rabbit under his hat, and he would say the magic word. And the magic word was abracadabra. And then he'd look at the audience and say, you can't say abracadabra without Abraham Zapruder. Abraham. Mm-hmm. Yeah, get it? Laugh. This is funny.
I get it.
Well, the Borscht Belt dries up. Borscht Belt dries up.
Walk.
And so then he gets a job with his family at the deli they owned in the Lower East Side.
Okay.
Yep. And it was at that deli one day, he served the mamas and the papas.
Oh, they're coming up again.
Yeah, the same day, the same day that the one papa who I can't remember, he wrote the California Dream, and he was making sandwiches for the mamas and the papas, and for Mama Cass, he made her favorite, a ham and cheese and rye. And as he handed it to her and gave her a knowing wink, he said, "You can't spell ham without Abraham Zapruder."
Okay, now I see the setup. Okay.
Right.
This third part better be good.
This is good. So good. Then after that, we all know what happened with that ham sandwich. It kind of ruined him for a while. He left the deli. He just kind of wandered around just being a general pest. One of the things he would do is he would like to like rub his feet on the carpets of any room, because at this point we're getting into like the early 60s. Shag carpets are getting a big thing. And he built these static charges, and he would touch people and give them loud static shocks, right?
Oh, I love doing that.
Yeah, I know you did. I can just picture you little bowl cut Tim as a kid doing that.
I did it all the time.
He would give people these little electric shocks, and he'd go, "Zap! You can't spell zap without Abraham Zapruder."
Okay.
And he wink at the camera.
Wink, wink.
Yep. And then finally, he achieved his greatest fame as
breaking the rules of 3 here.
I always do more than 3. He broke the rules. He chronicled the assassination of Kennedy. He no longer got the thrill from shag carpets he used to do. He actually went on a moral crusade. He actually felt like it was the loose morals of the country that led to the assassination of our up till then only Catholic president. Mm-hmm. And so he would go out there and he'd decry the loose morals of people. And he would always close his speeches. He would look out at the audience of Bible waving Bible thumpers in front of him and goes, "Remember, you can't spell prude without Abraham Zapruder." Yep. And then he died in an ER, and you can't spell ER without Abraham Zapruder. The end.
Wow.
Yep. There.
Wow.
Hopefully.
You try to teach me a lesson?
Hopefully the lesson is never mention Abraham Zapruder again. Hopefully that kills that reference. All right. Where were we in the story?
I was going to say one thing about...
Yep.
Only one thing about Kennedy being on the wall.
Oh, what?
I think the director of this film was trying to tell us something.
What?
I think he was trying to say maybe somebody's lying about who killed JFK.
Man, Tim, you used the lion joke. I ain't lying in there. Why would you shoot your joke on the setup? You should thank me I put in my Zapruder list.
I messed up.
Yeah, you suck.
So the family tries to hide. It's the same as the beginning part of the movie. People trying to move through molasses, basically.
I should say this, too. There's this... The theme of this part is humorous. They're playing funny music, but then
I recorded some of it. It's like this. It's like do 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 do.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like the Teddy Bear's Picnic, the music.
Yes. But
suddenly, and the only clue I had a sense that this was supposed to be changing. So they all hide in cupboards. It all gets tipped over. They get out. They regroup. Jack Dark Gray goes out on a motorcycle to try to get help and gets chased. Beardo.
Chased.
He gets chased back to the house after being, again, insane scenes of him riding a motorcycle among real cats that are swiping at him, biting the motorcycle. It's insane. He comes back into the house, and then there's a mood change. And the only real clue we have is that the music changes, and suddenly it's very sinister. Mm-hmm. Tim, did you get that Togar is the problem?
Only at the end.
So let's talk about Togar. Togar is a cat. It's a big lion. He's definitely the Scar to... what's the main guy's? Gary's Mufasa?
And the Lion King?
Robbie. Robbie is the good lion. He's the head of these 150 lions. He's Robbie. He's a son named Gary who gets credits in the beginning. Gary doesn't appear again. I don't know what's up with that. Togar is definitely the Scar. He's darker. He's always covered in blood. Not his blood.
That's why.
Yep.
I didn't understand
that was
either.
to identify him. And in the beginning, when Mativo's first showing around, he goes, Togar, what are you doing here? You couldn't come at a worse time. My family's coming. You see, and then he explains to Mativo, okay, so Robbie's in charge. He thinks Robbie and Togar are brothers. Togar is a rogue lion. Whenever he comes, all the lions get worked up. So the fact that Togar's hanging around, the first bit with the lions chasing the family through their house is all meant to be fun and games. The lions are just curious and stuff. Then the second time Togar shows up with his bloody face, now the lions are trying to kill them. This is not made clear enough, really.
No.
So then the family's like hiding in the bedroom, and it's Togar doing most of this. He's ripping down doors. Yeah. It's pretty impressive looking because this is literally a real lion just fucking ripping apart a door like it's made of balsa wood. It's insane.
Yes. And I do want to say, not Beardo-san, younger son, not too smart. He tries to hide in the refrigerator.
Yep. And that's a funny callback. He's like, "What? You could have died in there." It's like, yeah, he hides in the fridge because there was like 20 lions trying to bite him.
And that fridge, I got to point this out, it was filled with eggs that he took out.
He threw them on the
floor.
floor.
Where did he get eggs? There's no way chickens would be alive on that farm. He's a chicken thief. Hank is a chicken thief that smokes pot all day.
So Togar tries to kill the family. At this point, this is the scene where Melanie Griffith gets really wounded. It's kind of funny. Like the brothers are doing something in another part of the house, and they come back in. There's just a lion that's just like kind of got her leg in her mouth.
Yes,
just sitting there. Top of her. Yeah, just sitting on top of her with the leg in her mouth. She's like, "Get it off!" And like this is the lion that like stuck a claw in her face. You can see there's blood in her hair at one scene, and then it's not there later. So now the family has this real, not that they would have been able to tell the lions weren't trying to kill them before, but now they're really trying to kill them.
They follow the water 3 times. He rides the motorcycle in the water.
Yeah,
they get in a barrel that gets thrown in the water.
All of them get barrels. It's like the fucking Hobbit. Then they try to escape on a boat, and they meet the world's angriest elephant. This elephant fucks up this boat.
George?
Yeah.
Oh. You want to know why the elephant hated that boat?
Yes.
I got a list of reasons.
Yes, and list.
Elephants never forget. This is a list of reasons why this elephant. This boat, he tears this boat apart, rips it up,
let's just
stomps
say
on it.
It's impressive. Like this is a metal boat, and this elephant truly effortlessly is tearing metal. It's impressive. It's amazing to see.
It is. Well, the reason that elephant hated boats so much, elephants never forget, and that elephant's great grandmother died on a big boat called the Titanic. Okay.
All right. Yep.
The second reason they hated the boat. Hank would put the elephants to sleep at night by showing them a disturbing Hitchcock movie called Lifeboat every night. Okay.
All right. That's it.
Why does the elephant hate lifeboats? No. Oh. Well, this elephant, he was once on the USS Indianapolis. They just delivered the bomb.
Do it as Quint.
How does he sound?
2,000 elephants went into the water. And the sharks came at him. Their doll eyes, their black doll eyes. I am becoming Irish today. Why am I doing Irish?
They just delivered the bomb. The Hiroshima bomb. Yes. Japanese hit him with 2 torpedoes. 1,100 men and 1 elephant went into the water. The vessel went down in 12 minutes. 1,100 went into the water. 316 come out.
And no elephant.
That elephant swore he'd never get into a lifeboat again, Chief. Hey, Chief.
Hey, Chiefy.
There.
It's good. This is good. What a good podcast we have.
A lot of wackiness until the family's like, another hut. Let's go in there and not close the doors and fall asleep.
I forgot that part. Oh my God. Yeah. So they find another hut on the property because the house is completely overwhelmed with cats. And I guess this is key. And so let's just quickly check in with our other characters because while they're sleeping there, the house is also full of blood, worth mentioning. At this whole time, Mativo and Hank are continuing their journey back. They got bicycles. They crashed the bicycles 15 miles from the house because, again, a tiger attacks them. So they're getting back. the group of people who are deciding the grant. They're having a meeting, and the two guys, the two guys who got fucked up by tigers are like, "This is fucking dangerous." I tell you what, we're gonna go there. We're not waiting for rivers. We're gonna start go there and just shoot all these animals.
Yeah,
and
they're just getting bullets in their guns. It's just a pile of bullets.
They're putting bullets, so many bullets, and they go out and we see them. We see them shoot a lion. We see him shoot a bunch of lions. It's really fucked up because like it's also funny because no lions got hurt. Like these lions are like moving and stuff, but they're supposed to be dead. But sad, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
And they make the statement. They're like, we could sell like the leopards and the tigers, but the lions just leave them for the buzzards. And these are the bad guys.
Yep.
So now they're also out there killing these lions. And there's a moment where they run afoul of Togar, the rogue lion, who has now wandered away from the house. And he sees that that these poachers have killed these lions. And Hank happens to be right there. And he's like, "Oh no, you got to stop Togar."
Hank or Jerry, yeah.
Togar
kills these guys.
Kills these guys so hard. It's amazing. Just annihilates them. Just really fucking annihilates them. And Hank tries to stop it for whatever reason. He's like, "Oh God!" And so like these guys are left just like dismembered corpses.
He leaves them there. He's like, "Oh well."
Yeah, he does. It's like, I gotta get to my family. So they get back to the family now. The threat is over. Yeah.
Before we're done with the threat being over, I got to point out. Did you notice the one part where Tippy like falls against the wall and then a shelf goes askew like in a cartoon and the jars fall on her?
Oh yeah, and oh my God.
And then Honey maybe,
and then
which
Honey falls in her, and then she's semi-conscious from jars falling in her head, and Honey drops on her.
It's like a cartoon.
It was.
It's like a scene from Boner's Ark, George. That famous comic
Boner's Ark. I read this thing.
Boner's Ark.
Priscilla the pig with her disgusting body.
You read that.
Was that in the main house, or is this in the new house that happens? That's in the main house.
Before they ran off and fell asleep.
So they get into the secondary house on the property. They fall asleep, as Tim mentions, not locking the doors. So they wake up. They wake up this family, and there's just lions sleeping everywhere on top of them. And this is a big moment because they realize if the lions really wanted to kill us, they would have done it while we were sleeping. So now now we know the lions are our friends.
It's like suddenly they love them too.
Yep, and they just love them. Also, they're playing with the lions. This is when, from his just fresh off seeing Togar like murder these two people. Togar arrives, has a showdown with Robbie. They have a show of dominance, and then Togar, because he's gotten his bloodlust out from killing these two humans, he's just like, "Oh, okay," and he's like fun, and he's fine with them now. We see him frolicking with them later.
Wow, I didn't follow that.
Yeah, it was. You had to really kind of recognize Togar. I think you had to really pay attention to the different markets.
They should have put a big scar on him.
He literally
makeup every day.
He literally did have a scar, which is hilarious.
Come on,
he did. There was a scar on the left side of his face, like you could see.
I think I watched a special edited cut of this.
The thing is, if you're not looking to follow the lions, it's a bunch of fucking lions. There was a guy named Asmodeus. Yes, there was a woman named Flo. She said, "Kiss my corn product." So then, everything is happy. The lions are all back to being friendly because Togar is now part of the group and he's cool. And that's when Hank arrives. And right before he runs up to meet his family, this is fucking hilarious. He turns to Mativo. He's like, "Hey, I don't want to ruin my surprise. Don't tell my family that like the fucking lion just ate two people, okay?"
I know.
And Mativo's like, "You got it, buddy." So
and then the cat's trying to take Mativo's umbrella. Where do you get an umbrella? Did you notice that?
I assume Mativo always just is constantly generating umbrellas as a defense. So then there's the family's trying to walk back to the house along a narrow plank, and there's lions on both sides, even they're friendly now, and they get knocked into the water by a lion, and they're all wet and laughing, and there's tigers swimming around, and Hank comes up to his estranged wife, and she's like, "I'm so glad you're here," and she kisses him like, no, you immediately slap that man and get divorced. He had your family in such danger. And he's like, "What do you think, family? You stay here for a week?" And the one kid's like, "Yeah, I don't have to be back into school in Chicago for a week." And the movie ends happily ever after.
And did you see what they brought to the jungle? Like a skateboard.
Oh my God, there is a scene
golfing clubs
where the lions and tigers are eating their fucking luggage. And it's like there's a skateboard, a football helmet, a football. It's the most silly. It's like they just threw the most random trash and like, let's watch what happens when big cats eat this. We have repeated shots of a tiger with a sneaker cut on its fang going, "Wah!" Wah. So dumb. So all their luggage, you're right, all their luggage has been ripped to shreds. They spent
all the Star Wars action figures from Empire Strikes Back, which just
oh my
came
God,
out.
they had a rare on the card Lobot. And that tiger pulled Lobot off the card and Tim scratched the paint on his headset.
Yep, he did.
Worthless now. Lobot.
Should we do revenge, or is there more to say about this? Because we've talked for an hour.
I guess let's do the revenge. What was the story? We didn't even
Revenge. Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, I'll find you.
Revenge.
One of us will die.
You need the prompt. Who from this movie would be most likely to carry a hand grenade up their kilt in Scotland? I can start this.
All right.
You can say Hank because
he's an insane person. He takes baths with
lions, and at some point they would have scratched his balls off. So he puts grenades in his kilt just to have something there.
Oh,
and maybe I don't know. That's all I could think of, George.
I'll say this. I'll add to it.
You ended, but George. Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm saying, but
he wasn't actually wearing a kilt. All of his clothes hang in tatters off his body. He has his holes. He was wearing just pants, and like the tigers just ripped the bottoms out. So he's just wandered there.
He just told people it's a kilt.
He's like, they're like, "Sir, are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a kilt. Yeah." And the reason he wears the hand grenades under there, Tim, it's actually like you're right. He no longer has genitals. This is like he was inspired by watching Jaws. We've already discussed, Quint, a lot of this. He was like, when I finally get eaten by a tiger or lion, which will happen probably any day now, as I go down, I'm going to pull the grenade and go, choke on this, you son of a bit, and blow up. No, smile, you son of a bit. That's it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I didn't even catch you.
Because did we mention that he's played by Roy Scheider?
No, choke on this, you son of a bitch. That's from the Goonies. That's what you're mixing.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what they say in the scene where they're interrogating Chunk.
Yes.
Yeah, and they shove a grenade in his mouth.
Sorry.
It's rough scene. It's not in every cut. So, but next you're watching Goonies, remember there's a scene where the Fratellis try to blow up a chubby little boy's head with a grenade.
Yeah.
Yep, that was a good one. All right, should we do revenge?
Oh, we're done with that story? Okay.
Did you have anything, Dad? Yeah, go. Keep going.
That was good.
Right.
That was great.
That's good, yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's
Who's
it.
most likely?
Yep.
Who wants to do their revenge first?
I'm going to do mine first because mine is actually, and this would be short and sweet, folks. We did talk a lot about this one. I want to again say, everybody's got to watch this movie. It's something you should see. But I
like how you put it. If you're on your way to see this movie,
if you're going to see this
nobody's on their way to see this movie.
I'm going to watch this again. Start the music.
Okay.
Will this be a story of revenge, Tim? Can you really blame the movie ends with a call for environmentalism, to stop destroying the habitats of these beautiful creatures and to stop the poaching of their lives. And so our hero, Hank, he has dedicated his life to saving these lions. He had a grant by the committee in order to do so. However, as this movie ends, we know 2 members of the committee are laying festering in the sun, soon to be picked dry by carrion birds and jackals for their bones to bleach. Motivo is keeping the silence for now because human life is cheap out in that part of Africa, presumably. But my sequel picks up the next day, where the committee joins again, saying, like, well, what should we do about those 2 hotheads of ours that went off to shoot all those lions? Do we know what happened with, let's send out a party. 2 guys,
okay.
Let's call them Tip and Willie. They go out. They're armed with tranquilizer rifles, and they go driving. They're excellent gamesmen. They find the trail, and they immediately find the partially devoured corpses of their friends. And they go, this looks bad. They're able to see what's left. They go, these are clearly lion bite marks. And so they return to the committee, and they immediately issue an arrest warrant for Hank. And then the next day, Hank just recently reconnected with his wife, who's clearly suffering from dementia, probably from having the honey drop on her head. She was rudely awakened by the local police, dragging Hank out into the yard to arrest him. However, they moved a little too fast. And immediately...
Hank's like, don't you know the rules?
Don't run! And immediately, 50 to 150 lions fall on them. The resulting battles last for 5 weeks. ending finally with the complete decimation of both the lion population and the human population of the, so far as I know, unnamed African countries it's supposed to be set in. And the movie ends just with a desolate, bone-covered field. And then Tippi Hedren walks out. She's the only one left. There's just birds everywhere, just birds eating the corpses. They chase her. And that's how the bird starts. The end.
You got your chronological effects.
I'm
out of
aware
order
that
there.
Birds was in 1964 and this movie was 1981. However, nobody, at no point did they say this was 1981. There was no, in fact, Tim,
Oh,
1960
1960 back toys.
No, that's only you edit. 1963 for the Birds. What year was Kennedy president in?
Well, till 63.
Exactly. This is the immediate precursor.
Ooh.
The reason he's there is he had just been elected. And of course, Hank
There's a lot of...
Yep. This is set in 1963. She immediately flees to America, bringing a plague of crazed birds with her, and sets into motion the effects of Alfred Hitchcock's most famous film, Rope.
You got me. You got me.
I'm so good. All right, you go.
I forgot to say when that kid opened the refrigerator to hide, because that place stunk so bad, he did say, I thought it smelled bad on the outside.
That's and not Gary Marshall. Lawrence Kasdan was hiding in a nearby cupboard. He's like, that's a good line. I'm going to put that into the sequel to Star Wars. The movie hasn't been recorded yet, called Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. Gary Marshall ran off to create Laverne and Shirley.
Is it if I said Gary Marshall? Because this is the Marshall family. He could have been a member of them.
Okay, start my music.
No, wait. I don't like this one. Play the other one.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. Go back to the original one.
A few weeks later, you didn't know this, but there was a witch who lived in the woods nearby.
Oh, wait. Really? What sort of witch was she, Tim?
The Witch of the Woods. She was a very traditional witch with black clothes, a green face, a broom. Maybe her name was Margaret.
Margaret Atwood?
No, Margaret Hamilton.
Margaret Thatcher. Oh, okay.
You don't know your Wizard of Oz. So the Witch of the Woods stops by Jerry's house. She tells the family.
Everybody, just to remind you, by Jerry, he means Hank.
Hank. Oh, by Hank's house. The witch stops by Hank's house with his whole family there. She tells him she's heard there's been a sequel made to my very favorite movie, Star Wars. And I've come out of the woods, and I'm going to travel to the big city and see it. And the kids, Beardo and the younger kid and Melanie Griffith, they're playing with their Empire Strikes Back toys, and they're very excited. They said, "Oh yeah, it was a great movie."
Which characters do they have? I want to hear.
Boba Fett.
They got Boba Fett. Of course, he was actually a mail away.
It shoots the rocket.
Nah, never was released. You're a liar. All right, well.
That's how Melanie Griffith got a scar on her face.
Okay, I'll believe that. I'll allow it.
Her brother had the Boba Fett that fired a rocket.
They only have Boba Fett? Anyone else?
Well, Chewie and everybody. And
Chewie is a Star Wars figure, not Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
I'm eating mangoes as I listen to this, everybody.
It's very rude.
It is.
Okay.
Who else?
So
Wait, who else?
The kids. No.
Do they have Bespin Han Solo?
Yeah. Gotta get through the story.
Do they have Yoda?
They have Luke Skywalker, who's now dressed in gray on his journey to becoming possibly evil.
Do they have Lando Calrissian?
And Yoda.
What about Lando Calrissian? Do the rest of the story as Yoda.
No, Yoda impersonating Mark Twain.
Ooh, even better, yeah.
Oh.
So good.
The kids are very excited. They say, Darth Vader. Luke's father he is, maybe. So the witch is like, oh, you've ruined the movie for me. You told me the big surprise in The Empire Strikes Back. And she wants revenge on this evil family.
Okay, I like it.
So her first means of revenge, she curses those wardrobes that the family, kids hid in during the movie. They put their clothes in there, their clothes disappear, they can never find their clothes again, and they're stuck wearing their ripped up clothes that the lions keep ripping. So Dad, Hank, he's high. He's like, hey, it's not cool. Come on. Just let's hug it out.
No, can you say it as Hank?
Hank's like, come on. I don't
Come on, hug it out.
Come on. Knock it off.
You don't run. You can't run. It's okay. Just a few scratches.
So the witch puts a spell on the lions to make them fall asleep and unable to attack her. But not Jerry. She can't put a spell on Jerry because spells don't work on people who smoke pot all day.
Oh, and Tim would know, everybody.
One lion,
What am I saying?
one lion had also eaten a bunch of Jerry's pot, and thus this one lion was not sleepy, and the witch's spells were ineffective against it. Yes.
Was this lion Robbie or Gary or Togar or maybe a third?
Just a random one. Random one.
Can we give him a name?
Togar. Let's say it's Togar.
Oh, Togar. Okay.
It's Togar.
Yeah. Could we say
that lion tries to attack the witch?
Togar.
Yeah?
Togar Tokes is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yep. I got it.
And she flies on a broom and makes herself look like a zebra, thus luring that lion into one of those big wardrobes where things disappear with the kids. Traps the lion and the kid in there. And then she confronts Hank, ready to knock his head off with her broomstick as her spells don't work. But Hank, being high, he's like, come on, here's a peace offering. And he hands his lit joint to her and accidentally catches her broom on fire.
Oh, no.
And Jerry's in a panic. He's like, no, man, that's not cool. Fire's totally not groovy. And he gets a bucket of water.
And by Jerry, once again, folks, he means Hank.
In a panic, Hank is like, oh, man, that's not cool. Fire's totally not groovy.
Yep.
He throws a bucket of water on that witch. And when you know it, she melts.
Oh, does she say, what did she say? She's melting.
I'm melting.
Oh, she doesn't say their eyes like doll's eyes.
He says, melt she does. I don't know.
Oh, melting she is, yes.
Yes.
I thought
the lions
on the outside I thought she smelled bad, did yes?
They even eat the lucky salmon she had hidden in her pocket. So anyway.
Nice. But Tebow's like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to start keeping fish in my clothes.
Everybody's good. The movie's called The Lions, The Witch, and the Totally Cursed Wardrobes. There you go. That's it. That poor witch didn't get to see The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, man, but at least she knows how it ends.
She does.
Yep. And really, wouldn't we all be happier if our knowledge of Star Wars ended at Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah.
Well, Tim.
It's a big year.
Yeah.
It's a big year.
Oh, you did this because you thought that, but this movie was 81, of course, but yeah.
Oh, come on, it'd been out.
That's true.
The witch had just gotten reviews. She saw The Empire Strikes Back.
Tim,
was
this is set in Africa.
Darling.
Maybe it took a little bit longer. Although it's really in California, it maybe took a little bit longer for the movie to get there. So maybe, yeah.
Yep.
Well, we sure had fun today, Tim.
It.
What lessons did we learn from today's episode?
Animals are wild. And let's leave it at that.
I'm going to say we know Tippi Hedren is a national treasure, that she went through this crap, divorced her obviously lunatic husband, but took the money to make up a preserve for all these animals, which is pretty dope, I must say.
It's too bad they didn't make this into a sitcom, just every episode to be like, well, I've prepared my tea party for my guests.
It's just him getting tackled.
Lions smash everything.
You hear the studio audience goes, yay! It's like whenever Kramer enters a room. This is true. The real original title of this was going to be called Lions, Lions, and More Lions. Did you see that?
Was it?
Yeah. They changed it
that.
Midway through. It was. And so that would be the name of the sitcom. Big Lions, Lions, and More Lions. And, like, every episode ends with like Hank looking at the camera going, what am I going to do with all these lions? And he gets tackled and they rip his face off.
See, there's the sequel. There's the sequel. Edit the rest of the show out.
Yes, let's make this our first 3-minute episode.
I'm making mine shorter, though, George. That was short.
Mine was short, too. It was shorter, yeah.
I'm going to have a one-word sequel one day.
I can't wait. What's the word you're going to be, you think?
I wouldn't know.
Depends on a true artist wouldn't telegraph.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
My inspiration comes in the moment. Just like now, we got to go, right?
Yep. I'm not going to be here next week.
You're touring because of your book, Odin.
Yep.
God of the mountain, the love mountains.
Yep.
I forget. Yep. I forget.
My new book, Asgardians Book 1, Odin, not to be confused with Bob Odenkirk. No, this is the one-eyed warrior god of the Norse pantheon. Come buy it.
But next week,
I'm not here.
So Kevin Cablasto's going to be here, and we're going to watch Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Ooh, Hawaii.
Babes, boobs, and silliness.
This is our first non-continental U.S. Yeah.
I'm sorry you're going to miss it. But yeah. This is Hawaii, celebrating the great state of Hawaii. where our president once faked his birth certificate. But we'll talk about that.
Mega.
So give us some likes on anything where you can listen to us anywhere and write us a letter at seddybimco with .com at gmail. And I should just make sure no one sent us a letter.
Yeah, sure.
Let me hit refresh. Nobody. It's all backed up. But we're going to watch Hard Ticket to Hawaii. And George will be back next week. And
Not next week, the week after.
Okay. The week after that. That's what I meant.
Yep.
Let's get out of here.
Right.
Write us letters. Give us reviews every Wednesday. We have a website, and I'm putting artwork up about the stories I write.
I'll probably put artwork up too eventually.
Yeah. When I have time, I'm going to draw what these sequels look like. At least just one picture.
Yep.
Can't draw a whole comic, people. Stop begging me.
When I have time, I'm going to draw all the main characters with no pants on. Can't wait to get up to Hank from this movie with no pants.
Damn pantsless they are.
No pants they have, do they?
Okay, I should say
Let's
goodbye.
end this.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.
Miraculously, you started wondering what Odin was the god of, I think. And that gave me the perfect opportunity to type in Odin, love god of the mountains, which is what he was called in the movie Whiskey Mountain we watched.
Yep.
And
Previous episode, Whiskey Mountain.
George totally ignored it.
And
Dave, right?
Dave Roman.
Dave Roman was like, hey, this person said, and you're like, nope, that person's a person of ill repute or something. You just kept going.
I said that person is of ill repute, yes. I wisely, folks, if you ever find yourself in a public forum where you see Seddy Bimco and or my co-host Timothy Hamilton interacting with you, it is best to not engage. Just like if you're ever in a room full of lions, don't run.
Don't run.
If you see Tim and he asks you about what Odin is god of, don't answer.